Today on Light of the Word with Pastor Ray.
You know what we can say all the time? Lord, forgive me, I'm a sinner. Forgive me, you know I'm a sinner. Your prayer life will change. Your confessional point in your prayer life will change when you come and say, not just say, Lord, I'm a sinner, forgive me, but you come and say, Lord, forgive me. That was bitterness. I unleashed bitterness. I unleashed wrath and anger. I slandered my brother. I got malice towards my sister.
Open your heart to us, Lord, so we can know your word. We come before you, Jesus. Speak to our hearts as we discover your love for us. How wide, how deep, how far. Pour into us so we can learn to follow. One surrender at a time. You have made the way for us to know you, a path that's straight and right. By the light of the word.
Which one has more conviction and power? Sorry, or I'm so sorry that my pride caused me to act in a way that hurt you? See, words have meaning, but they can also be empty. In today's message, Pastor Ray teaches that when your words are generic, then stuff happens and things may or may not change. But when you are specific in your prayers, you will feel an incredible shift in spiritual connection with God as the Holy Spirit begins to make you clean. Words have meaning, so let them mean something. Well, let's join Pastor Ray in the book of Genesis chapter 44 as he continues his message, Mercy.
My friend, he's still broken to this day. He said, my son took his life. And he goes, and I still carry the guilt because when he started playing Dungeons and Dragons, I saw it. I saw him start slipping away. He's a pastor, my friend. And then he said his son started getting into Dungeons and Dragons. And he says, Ray, I'm telling you, that is what the demonic realm that brought him in to believe what he did was the way to go and the only way out of whatever the situation. Ouija boards, high school kids think it's some fun thing. They get together, tarot cards, psychic hotlines, horoscopes, all these type of things. And I know people can sit and go, man, you're being a little overzealous or a little legalistic. No, I've lived too long to tell you it's real. There's a demonic realm. And I've shared this story before, I believe, but one of my closest friends in high school, he's a real character. And he loved to just, poke people. He was hilarious. He was hilarious. When we were in high school, he would, I remember one day I was in the science class and I was already seated and he comes in, the bell's late and he comes in and he would do this walk. So the whole class is looking at him, teacher's looking at him, and he had stopped in the bathroom, got toilet paper, rolled toilet paper to make it look like a marijuana cigarette. And he put it in his mouth and he comes walking in and he looks at the teacher and he goes, oh, and he hurries up and he puts it in his pocket. And the teacher called the police. And so the police come, they take him out of class and this whole big thing. And he goes, what? It's toilet paper. And so he just like tortured the teachers. And of course, at that age, we enjoyed that type of stuff. It gave some break in the day and these type of things. And what's so funny about it is Bobby, he's a high school principal now. So that's like our greatest laughter, that like of all jobs that you would have, you'd become a high school principal. And what a payback is that. But we were going to school in the same area down in Florida. We grew up in Western Pennsylvania. So we're 1,000 miles from home. And Bobby, he goes, you're not going to believe, Ray, I was bicycling. And I was bicycling down such and such, avenue. He goes, you know the avenue? I go, oh, yeah, we know the avenue. That's like the psychic hotline avenue. Tarot card reading, every house, palms reading and this and type. And we said, man, that is just demonic avenue. And he goes, well, so I'm bicycling. And one of them was out at the mailbox getting their mail. And he goes, you know me. I go, I know you. And he goes, I stop. I was like, I am going to entertain myself. And he stops and he's like, hey, so I think you're phony. Prove to me why you're not. And he said, that person, obviously tapping into the demonic realm, said, well, let me ask you a question. Does the word Mount Vernon mean anything to you? And then they said, and does the word Elizabeth Forward mean anything to you? And he's like, I'm out of here. He grew up, he lived in a neighborhood called Mount Vernon, and we went to high school at a high school called Elizabeth Forward. And we're 1,000 miles away, and we're several years away, no other way except a demonic realm there. And he goes, and he's laughing at himself. He goes, Ray, you want to hear something even funnier? He goes, I've ridden a bike thousands of miles, because that's what he does. He rides hundreds of miles a week. That's his big exercise. He goes, Ray, I didn't even make it a mile, and I wrecked my bike on the street. He goes, I couldn't get out of there fast enough. All joking aside, an interesting story that's a true story, but you know what? We don't need to be messing with divination cups. And I really speak to you youth. Don't even think about it. It's not a game. Don't even tread into those things. There's a dark realm there. It's a portal, and it's a place that the evil one works. So verse 16, Joseph, he's not doing divination stuff, but verse 16, then Judah, and of course the boys are probably thinking he has the ability, because remember, he did the 1 in 40 million probability when he set them in order at dinner last chapter. Then Judah said, what shall we say to my Lord? What shall we speak? Or how shall we clear ourselves? God has found out the iniquity of your servants. Here we are, my Lord's slaves, both we and he also, whom the cup was found. Beautiful. I'm going to read it with emphasis. I want you to see in this verse the word we. Benjamin's the one who's found guilty, but notice Judah interceding, representing the rest of the boys. No one challenges. Then Judah said, what shall we, plural, say to my Lord? What shall we, plural, speak? How shall we, plural, clear ourselves? God has found out the iniquity of your, plural, servants. Here we, plural, are my Lord's slaves, plural, both we, plural, and he, singular, also with whom the cup was found. He is making the statement, one for all and all for one. United we stand, divided we fall. If God was looking to form and forge the nation, as last week's study and title was, here it is, mission accomplished. They could have went home, left Benjamin. That was what the outcome was. Whoever has the cup dies, becomes a slave. Everyone else, you go home. You're kind of blameless, meaning you could even come back for food again. And here they all stay in this we, plural. And it's such a picture for the nation of Israel. It's a picture for the nation of America. But boy, let it be a picture. Let it be a wonderful picture of the picture of what a church should be, the body of Christ. Two great passages in the scriptures that I love. John the Baptist, he's beheaded for preaching, you shouldn't be with her, she's not your wife, it's your brother's wife. Verse 27 of Mark 6, immediately the king sent an executioner and commanded his head to be brought. And he went and beheaded him in prison, brought his head on a platter and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. A whole nother story for a whole nother message. But verse 29, when his disciples heard of it, they came and took away his corpse and laid it in a tomb. Picture, resemblance, 1 Samuel 31, Saul. Now, verse 11, when the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, All the valiant men arose and traveled all night. They took the Philistines, put his body on the wall after the victory over Israel. And here comes these valiant men. And that's important here's what God calls valiant men and valiant women. Valiant men arose and traveled all night and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his son from the wall of Bethshan. And they came to Jabesh and burned them there. And then they took their bones and buried them under the Tasmus tree at Jabesh and fasted for 7 days. Here's what valiant men and women of God do. We stand together. We are willing to go fight for one another. These men who went to get John the Baptist, John's considered an enemy of the state. Saul, he's considered the enemy of the state. These men could have just said, well, it's only a body. We will send soldiers in to go fight to bring a body home. And here's this thing that these men here do in this story. And I think there's just a place for us as church. That's what we have to do. We have to fight for one another. Saul, man, you were way out there. We would go in total error. You had been spoken, your kingdom is done. And yet these men would go get the body of a man who was in the wrong. John the Baptist, he's just preaching the word, and they would risk knowing, we go get this body, we could find ourselves killed as well, but they go at their own risk because we, plural, stand with one another. And what a picture for the church. And, lots of time the world just wants us to throw each other away after a falling or a failing. And here we see a we. These boys don't know. I keep calling them boys. They're men. They don't know that Benjamin's innocent. And yet they will go and be willing to put themselves into slavery, even death. So verse 17 through 20. But he said, far be it from me that I should do so. The man in whose hand the cup was found, he shall be my slave. And for you, go up in peace to your father. Then Judah came near. He's putting his life at risk, because he's going to challenge and question the second most powerful man in the world of saying, I heard what you say, but I'd like you to consider something else. This is a threat to Joseph's respect. Then Judah came near to him and said, Oh, my Lord, please let your servant speak a word in your Lord's hearing, and do not let your anger burn against your servant, for you are even like Pharaoh. He knows he's risking his life. Verse 19, my Lord asked his servants, he's going to rehash, saying, have you a father or brother? And we said to my Lord, we have a father, an old man, and a child of his old age, whom is young. His brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother's children, and his father loves him. Judah's now, if we really follow this, we just read earlier that, we're guilty because of selling him. They're coming to the place of what they believe. Joseph is dead because of what we done. He's literally coming, that he's getting real before the Lord, and he's becoming specific. And what's the lessons learned here for us? You know what we can say all the time? Lord, forgive me, I'm a sinner. Forgive me, you know I'm a sinner. Your prayer life will change. Your confessional point in your prayer life will change when you come and say, not just say, Lord, I'm a sinner, forgive me, but you come and say, Lord, forgive me. That was bitterness. I unleashed bitterness. I unleashed wrath and anger. I slandered my brother. I got malice towards my sister. And then all of a sudden, now God can work because we're actually getting down to really what we're saying. It's easy to be a general sinner, and we can walk away and feel, well, we're all sinners. Don't we hear that? We're all sinners. But when you stand up and you go, this is my sin specifically, now God can step in and do something. Here he is working here in Judah's heart. In verse 21 through 28, reading through this, then you said to your servant, bring him down to me that I may set my eyes on him. And we said to my Lord, the lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die. It's going to break Dad's heart if he loses his son. But you said to your servants, unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you shall see my face no more. So it was when we went up to your servant, my father, that we told him the words of my Lord. And our father said, go back and buy us a little food. But we said, we cannot go down. If our youngest brother is with us, then we will go down. For we may not see this man's face unless our youngest brother is with us. Verse 27, then your servant, my father, said to us, you know that my wife bore me 2 sons. So here's Dad speaking. Verse 28, and the one went out from me, and I said, surely he is torn to pieces, and I have not seen him since. You know what's amazing in this that we just read? Joseph's 22 years. This is about 2 years into the famine. 13 years, Potiphar's house in prison. 7 years of plenty, 2 years into the famine. Joseph is 22 years into the betrayal of his brothers. And for 22 years, he has no idea what did they say to Dad. When they got home and I wasn't there, what did they say? You sit there in loneliness and you have to think of what it could possibly, you think about it. You can come up with a lot of thoughts. We know they're not going to say, we sold him, Dad. They hate me, so what would they come home and say? They come home and say, Dad, you know the money you gave Joseph to come for provisions or to come, and he took it and he ran off with loose company. He's out doing things of the world down there in such and such land. He's drinking, Dad. He's doing drugs. You can't believe it, Dad. And he said he doesn't want anything more with your rules. They could have went home and said that. They could have came with all kinds of things, and Joseph sits here, and he doesn't know. But you know what else? You would do it, and I would do it. 20 plus years. Why did Dad never come look for me? Why? Where was my dad? Why didn't he send people out? He had servants. Why didn't he send servants out and say, I'm a man of wealth? When Joseph left, they were a man of wealth. I could have sent 10 servants in 10 directions, and you go in those directions until you find my son and you bring him back to me. That he had the means, he had the wealth to do it, and Joseph had to sit there and all those years go, why didn't Dad do that? Why did my dad abandon me? And now Joseph finally gets this peace. It must have pierced his heart, because the story that my dad thought was he was torn to pieces and that he was dead. And that's why Dad didn't come look for me. And I know I'm going to wrap this up, and God bless you, but I know you're here, and some of you, your mom, your dad, your loved one, whoever that may be, whatever that situation, they didn't come. And you're sitting here and you're wondering, why didn't you come for me? Wasn't I worth fighting for? Wasn't I worth investing and spending time and money? Why didn't you come and look for me? And why has it been all this time that I have been alone? And you're wondering, why did they leave me? And you may never find that out. But once again, I come back to that plural we. We need to recognize one another, that we can be the healing bridge. Man, we understand. That must have been hard when your dad left you, when your mother abandoned you, when your spouse ran off. But you know what? We're going to stand with you. You will always have us, and you'll always have a place here. But of course, that's going to we got to get to know each other. We got to spend time with each other. We actually have to pray and then ask each other. So verse 29 through 31. But if you take this one also from me, the calamity befalls him, you shall bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave. Now, therefore, when I came to your servant, my father, and the lad is not with us, since his life is bound up in the lad's life, Dad's life. He loves Benjamin. He's the last of Rachel, his first wife. It will happen when he sees that the lad is not with us, that he will die. So your servant will bring down the gray hair of your servant, our father, with the sorrow to the grave. Dad's heart will break if we show up without Benjamin. And then verse 32, 33, for your servant became surety for the lad to my father, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I shall bear the blame before my father forever. Now, therefore, please let your servant remain instead. Trade places of the lad as a slave to my Lord, and let the lad go up with my brother. Beautiful picture of life of intercession. I think what I love about this picture of the life of intercession, Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? Matthew 22 in the law. And Jesus said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love the neighbor as yourself. Of these two commandments hang all the law and the prophet. Verse 1 of 45 is going to start with like Joseph can't take it. His heart's just going to like. And here we see Judah interceding on behalf of a heartbroken father, the love of a father. Love the Lord your God, our Father, with all your heart, mind, and soul. And then he's interceding for his neighbor. Just this beauty. You want to move the heart of God. Joseph, a picture of Jesus. You pray like that. You pray in love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. But you know what, Lord? I'm going to pray for my brothers and sisters who is your neighbor. And then the last verse, for now, verse 34, how shall I go up to my father if the lad is not with me? Least perhaps I see the evil that would come upon my father. I just close with this. Do you see what he's asking for? Mercy. I have nothing else. I tried to convince you that I wasn't a thief through logic. I tried to convince you of this, of what's happening to my dad and how it will break his heart. But in the end, Judah comes representing the corporate family. All that we have left to ask you is mercy. Will you give us mercy? And that's the title of today's message. Have you ever begged for mercy? I think we all have, because all of us have come to Christ. Do you remember what it was like when you were begging and asking for mercy? Nothing else would matter. Anything, life, prosperity, possessions, nothing mattered except it was like the next breath. I just want mercy. And maybe there's a situation you've been in your life and you've come to somebody, you know you're wrong, you know you have nothing else, and all that you want is just give me mercy. When you beg for it, you know what I'm saying. These boys are saying, just give us mercy. And we're going to see he will. Next week's study. Perfect passage for a baptism, speaking of forgiveness and the mercy of the Lord. But I'll ask you this as we close, and you can think about it while we sing our last. Have you ever given mercy? Ephesians 4:30 through 32. What a context for mercy. Putting off and putting on, forgiving one another as Christ forgave us. But if you've ever wanted mercy and someone's given it to you, it's like the breath of life. And then there's a place when somebody comes and they're asking for mercy. They know that they're wrong, so you don't have to worry about the other stuff about control and all. They know that they're wrong and they're just begging you for mercy. Will you give it?
You have made the way for us to know you, a path that's straight and bright. By the light of the world.
This is Light of the Word, and we're in the book of Genesis. There's a reason why we should start at the very beginning. So much formative information is written and communicated in the Bible based on Genesis. God sets the stage, describing who He is, what His purposes are for mankind, and the desperate need of a Savior to rescue man from his own demise. From the days of creation through the Eden story to the story of Noah and the flood, it's rich with color as well as providing life lessons to learn. Then you get into the saga of Abraham's lineage. Many high points are brought to your attention, as well as several areas where each person fell short in his own way. But God doesn't value people based on perfection. He cares most about a person's heart and what's done after falling down. Do you stay in the dirt and mud, scrounging to find a way out on your own? Or do you reach out to God for His help and guidance? This idea becomes evident throughout Genesis as various people and groups sought after God, and some ran the other way. We trust that what you're hearing about in the book of Genesis is having a profound impact on your life and drawing you closer to Him. To gain more teaching insights, go to lightoftheword.info. That's all for today from Light of the Word, illuminating the heart of God.
You have made